and we're about to start the Transport Roadshow. Would you guys like to
all go up,
sum up, or those of you who are brave enough?
You
Like, you don't have too many bruises. Are we early in the piece, or are we last?
number one.
We're number one. That'll
Number one. So if it's a bit less
we can soften you up
professional than we'd hope, then I mean, I don't know if we'll get any better, but you know, it's certainly not polished yet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sure, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's what briefing. Here we are.
Just sharing PowerPoint up to should be all set. And we're good to go.
We're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hi. Is this not working? I'm struggling with IT. I've been swearing quite a lot trying to get my kids on the internet because they're sat outside. It's been quite I mean, I put up this, the purpose of the briefing. Really, we're trying to come round and in a really informal setting, give you some information about what we do, and then give you an opportunity to ask us pretty much any question you want. So that's kind of the purpose of it, really, is just a really informal sort of opportunity for you to ask those questions where there isn't a decision at the end of it and there aren't angry people sat behind us waiting to jump on whatever you do.
For those of you who don't know us, this is a good introduction to who we are.
Yeah. So Steve is now our head of transport. I'm planning and delivery manager, so I've been around a few times. Sharon is our program manager. She's not on the board. She probably should be, in all honesty. And then well, Jed's our maintenance manager and has been since the end of last year. And Kathy is our manager of operations and has been for about 3 weeks, month? Yeah. But she has been in council for a little while, so. So our roading network, about 2,500 kilometres of road across the 16 wards. So I think the big thing is that replacement cost is 5.9 billion. So if we had to build what we are today, we need about $6 billion to do that. Because it depreciates over time, it's worth about 2.75 billion. And that depreciating at a rate around 260k per day, I think is really quite instructive. I mean, it basically means you've got to spend $95 million a year just to stand still. Just on renewals, you've got to stand there. Which is a big number, What do we own? So, yeah, like I said, about 2,500 kilometres of road. That's greater than the entire length of State Highway 1, right from the very top to the very bottom. Footpaths, yeah, a bit more on footpaths, obviously, because you have one on each side in lots of places. We've also got about 342 kilometres of cycleways. It's about the distance from here to Picton. And 207 kilometres of shared path. That almost gets you to Tekapo, just to give a sense of scale. Street lights, like I said, we've got 42,500 street lights, 24,000 poles, 375 sets of signals, 258 CCTV sites, road signs, 60,000 road signs. I've also got in my notes, we've got 207 pay-by-plate parking meters. Retaining walls, got about 2,000, of which about 10% are rated high criticality. Bus stops, there's a number there.
Street trees are a key one.
Yeah.
61,000, nearly 62,000.
Yeah. And I was going to say on the bus stops, we also own the tram loop. So while we don't own the trams, we do own all the infrastructure. So we own all the rails, all the overheads, all the power for it. So there's and it also means that we effectively are a rail operator and we get audited as such. So yeah, we
get treated the same as Kiwi Road.
Yeah.
Are the trams owned by a trust?
By Christchurch Tramway Limited, but then the trams are owned separately to that as well in a trust.
Still Fermi, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do them up and then lease them to them, and then it's run by a separate company and it doesn't wash its face with council.
We're the same as Kiwi, and we design our own approaches and stuff now. Yeah. We just put tram lines every week.
It's just cutaway was a tram.
And then we've got 107 hectares of landscape sites. So that's all the little bits here and there, which is about 2/3 of the size of Hagley Park is what we look after. So again, we look after a decent amount of landscaping. So I mean, the point of that really is to try and give you a sense of the stuff that we own and that we do and we look after. I then tried to put together some slides of what we do. I got told by Kathy when we went through it that I've started with a real negative, so apologies. But parking enforcement, total infringement value is about 6.25 million a year. And we also look after abandoned vehicle investigations. So we have about 500, 600 of those a year. We're starting to use cameras more and more to enforce. This is outside a school. I think it's not in your board, is it? Where there was quite a lot of people, as you can see, parking in the cycleway. So we've used cameras in that location. There are a few other locations where we've used cameras to do enforcement.
Bus lane, no.
St Thomas's. You live at St Thomas.
We're also moving to a vehicle camera-based enforcement system as well, where vehicles will be kitted out with a whole heap of cameras, and they drive around and they'll be taking in license plate details. Also, they take photos of where the valve stems are in the cars, and that replaces the chalking. At the moment, people chalk the wheels to see if the car's moved within the time frame or not. But now it's all done through AI and clever camera systems. But one of the main drivers around that really is to protect our staff. Our parking officers get a immense amount of abuse, often physical, and nearly always every day there'll be verbal abuse, but quite often, probably on a weekly basis, there'll be physical abuse as well. So we're trying to, the more we can get them off the street, but still deliver the same level of service or better, then the better it's going to be for everybody.
Education. So yeah, we do quite a lot of cycle safe training. And this is all the going into businesses, going into schools and helping people with working out the best way for them to get to work and school. Yeah. Got anything you want to add, either of you?
No, cycle safe training's been around for 20 years, probably nearly 30 nowadays, and hugely popular. I guess if you could term it as the introduction to driving for many young people. So it's a great way for them to start that education, their road safety education.
Lots of those programs that run in that space, like the Good to Go school programs, and some of the Good to Go journey advice is funded externally through ECAN or other agencies as well. So it's not all CCC funding.
Okay. I was going to say I'm not fast a bit, so it's your call.
Yeah, we'll just go through these parts and we
cool. Development. I know this is a bit of a blank slide, but we sort of have a whole team that provide advice on consenting and so on. They also do a lot of other stuff. So we do road stopping applications, which there's Bishopdale Mall is technically a road, the car park is anyway. So we're doing quite a lot of work there. Structures on streets, vehicle crossing applications. That's where people need to get in and out of sort of new developments. And even things down to like outdoor dining applications. A lot of those, because they're on the street, they fall to us as a unit. And obviously traffic management applications. I see that's been in the news again today with the stadium. So again, that falls to us to provide help on that. Capital delivery, which is kind of a bit more my area. Last year we delivered about 127 million. Next year we'll deliver this year we'll deliver probably near 135, 140. And next year we're hoping we'll deliver about 150, and then that's where we're trying to hold 150. Longer term, like I said, that thing about the spend 95 million a year to stand still. The Infrastructure Commission reckon that you should be spending about 60% of your capital budget on renewals and the rest on improvements. And they reckon that's probably about the right space. And we're not far off at the moment. We'll probably try and bump that up in the next LTP. So we are at that 60-40, minimum 60-40.
And some of that stuff will be, we can talk further when we have our levels of service session.
Maintenance.
I get the exciting slide. So look, I've got hundreds of points here. I can talk for hours on maintenance, so I'll give you a very high level overview. So people think maintenance is potholes, and look, that's a big part of our business. We probably at this point, since these numbers were pulled, we're about 9,000 potholes year to date across the city. The average time to fix, that's not to repair, that's to action within our Hybris customer service system. Generally things that are make safes will be repaired within a couple of hours. So if there's a big hole in the road, we'll be out there literally within half an hour to an hour. Other stuff may take weeks and months to be programmed in as part of delivery, depending on the severity, the nature, the cost, the location, etc. So we do potholes. We also do OPEX and CAPEX. We do road surface repairs up to about 100 square metres as well. So that comes under our OPEX budget. We do curb and channel repairs, we do footpath, we do all the street sweeping, leaf cleaning, as we talked about earlier. We do all the road sump maintenance cleaning. We do a variety of street signs. Line marking is a 12-month rolling programme because historically we've had issues with lines failing and people colliding, and unfortunately people are not coming away from accidents. Then we just have this rolling programme that goes around the city and remarks all lines as part of a lump sum agreement with our contractors. It's the safest way to make sure that they all get done. We do bin emptying, predominantly central city, big bins, big litter bins around the stadium now, around the new eateries and the bars. We also do vehicle crossings in terms of maintenance of them, where there are footpaths either side. We also have a big capital programme, and it works and supports Jacob in terms of resealing. And we either use chip seal or we use AC, asphalt. The latter is much more preferred than chip, I've got to be honest. Chip seal is about a quarter of the price, and we have to go through a fairly extensive process with NZTA for reclaiming roughly 50% of anything we spend, and their preference on just about every road. If it doesn't require AC, then they'll want chip on it. So that might mean subdivisions that have been historically asphalted when they were created 20, 30 years ago. So there's no requirement for council to come in and replace with AC. Our preference is to do so for obviously local residents and challenges. AC is generally used at high turn intersections, main arterial routes, outside facilities like hospitals, schools, commercial centres, public buildings where there's a lot of traffic and a lot of turning and a lot of stress on the road. Chip is generally used in most other locations, can be noisier, can take a bit longer to settle in, can be a bit messier, but again, it's price dependent, allows us to do roughly 4 times as much. The mayor sees me every morning asking which roads I'm going to be putting AC on, and obviously it's a preference for everyone. It goes down really well and lasts for, on average, and depends on traffic, anywhere up to 15 to 20 years. Chip generally about 8 to 12, 8 to 13 years, depending on traffic loading. We also use the chip seal as a waterproofing agent. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is people look at our road surface and they don't understand why we've gone out and resealed it with chip. It's because the road's in really good condition at that point, and generally the stuff you see on top doesn't cause the issues. It's the 3 or 4 layers beneath that cause challenges in road construction. So if we can maintain the integrity of the road by essentially putting a new waterproof coat on top, then that gives us another 8, 12, 15 years lifespan out of that road. So if we can get to the roads very quickly, it's great. Sometimes we have to do dig outs before we do chip seal, and these are called pre-seal repairs. So all of my budget is to either hold, extend or prolong life in the roading network. It won't produce beautifully smooth roads unless we do a fair bit of dig out and reshaping. And look, so we've got resealing, we've got what's called rehab, and rehab is a bit more expensive, but you start to dig down, and then that flows into the work that Jacob does that's primarily renewals across the city, where you're doing essentially footpath, curb and channel, road surface all at the same time, and probably some streetscape as well. So there's a number of different levels. So maintenance last year, I mean, in terms of OPEX, we spent roughly about $34 million of the budget on resealing and chip seal, AC, and doing some rehab around the city. That's about it. It's interesting to note that the OPEX CAPEX split is not well understood in the public domain. They struggle to understand, and sometimes we have to walk away from an operational cost because of the size of it, and because sealing seasons are dependent. It might be capital work, but we might have to wait 4 or 5 months. So a good example is Edgware Road with Councillor Cotter. Lots of vibration. We could have waited 5 or 6 months to go in there from a capital perspective, but the vibrations were hellish for residents. So we've gone in with an OPEX solution that's an interim holding solution, and we sometimes do that with operational money. But because it's so expensive, because it's rates-based, it's always a challenge to decide. Do we wait? Do we wait 6 months till season starts and we get capital? Or do we go in and try and do some, what we call holding seals, smoothing, levelling with an OPEX investment, knowing that it will be written off 6 to 12 months later as they do better work. So look, it's always a challenge between OPEX and CAPEX. Preference is to put CAPEX everywhere. It's depreciable, it's over 25, 30 years. But the OPEX is what we can do here and now to hold stuff. But again, the challenge is the price and the cost.
Good. And then official queries, I thought I'd put this up. Lagoimas, that was a week or two ago. It basically works out to about 2 Lagoimas every working day. So we're pretty busy. About a quarter of all councils' Lagoimas come to our unit. So number one. 95% we answer within the 20-day time frame. A lot of the ones we don't, because people don't understand the difference between us and NZTA. So we end up with a lot of NZTA road queries that end up stuck on our thing. And so yeah, there's a bit of an issue there. Elected member requests we typically answer in 6.5 days on average. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, we'll obviously miss the odd one and people complain, but we do get an awful lot of them. So it's not done on purpose, I promise. And the 32 reports that I put up there, that doesn't include all the Part A's, all those other reports like procurement often write reports on our behalf. So you could probably double that number, I reckon, for the number of times that we turn up to council. And that doesn't include all the community boards, so as well, which is quite a few.
I'm going to say, Jacob, there's probably a couple of here who haven't had the 6.5 day responses from me just recently that you might have just been responded to today. So apologies for that.
Most of mine are normally within a day. That's what happens when you put in one a month.
There is a chart by councillor which we could have put up, but I feel that's a bit name and shame.
We don't need to.
Interesting to see the community board split too.
Yeah.
It was up today. I'll find it for you.
Right, how do people use our network? So the modelling we've had recently reckons that people drive 3.1 billion kilometres on our network each year. So I said that's a trip to Saturn and back plus a bit more, which is like quite a lot. I don't know how well the Ranger would work in space.
It's moving, it's fine.
Cycle counts, I mean, we've levelled out a bit recently. This cuts off just before the kind of fuel crisis kicked in. Apparently we've had the biggest April and the biggest May, or the biggest, we've ever had. So I suspect that'll see another little upward spike. Where we're seeing the growth is on the MCRs as well. It's there's charts of MCR counts versus non-MCR counts, and it's the non-MCR are roughly where they were in sort of 2016, and the MCR ones are what has driven that growth over time. So people are switching and using the MCRs. Network, you can see, so this is public transport. So public transport, again, it's like the tram. We own the infrastructure, and ECAN through their suppliers own the buses and operate the buses. So we have to work really closely with them. You can see that dip in patronage during COVID, but it is recovering, and ECAN are now reporting that they're having to turn passengers away on key routes at, in peak times. So yeah, so they're looking to put on more services. The double-decker bus is obviously brand new. There was some excitement in our office when that went in. People were like, can I take my kids on the double-decker bus? So I put a link at the bottom, which if you click on that link and then follow the vehicle ID, that pulls live GPS from that double-decker bus, so you can follow it around the city and get on cheap day out with the kids.
It's good, actually.
I'm not going to go through this slide in great detail, but our last LTP, there were 3 pillars: access, safety and environment, and then there was this affordability piece that was supposed to sit under it all. I want to try and say how we track it. So I tried to just pull out a few levels of service just to kind of give you a sense of what we are. So this chart is smooth travel exposure. It looks at the roughness of the road and then calculates that against the number of people on the road. So it's kind of how bumpy the average person's journey is, I guess, is a simple way of describing it. And you can see we kind of missed the target last year, but we're just about back there. We're really trying to hit roads like Jed was saying about, sort of busier roads, and really trying to get the smoothness on those, because that'll what will really affect these numbers, and that's what affect people on a day-to-day basis as well. You can spend a fortune in cul-de-sacs and hardly get any movement. Whereas if
We do get audited externally on some of these measures as well, so it's not just an internal CCC target.
New Zealand, yeah?
New Zealand and NZTA auditors as well, so yeah. Target is to seal 4% of the network each year. This year we're nearer to 5.7%, and we're looking to do a similar amount next year as well. So we're really pushing on. I mean, even 5.7 is basically a reseal every 16 years, isn't it? Which, when the roads are supposed to have an asset life of about 15 years, the seal on the top, I mean, it still suggests that we're only just about touching where we should be. Yeah. Environment, this is our 15-minute city, the 1 kilometre walk thing. I put this up because I just think it's quite interesting that you get these weird pockets of red in places where you'd expect it to be really green. The bit just north of Hagley Park is I think really strange to have that so red so close to the centre of the city. That's along Fendalton Road, right in the middle there. But yeah, it gives you a sense. I mean, like you'd expect, the densest places with the most amenities are generally in the cities and around Riccarton and Sydenham and those kind of areas where you'd expect it, really. And then safety is the other one. So this is our DSI chart. Reds are fatalities, yellows are serious incidents, and you can see that's dropping. It's been dropping on average. That trend line is about 3.5 a year. So that's good. That's obviously heading in the right direction. There
are some caveats with this. We're taking data from the NZTO's crash analysis system. And fortunately, any deaths, even if they happen on a road at a level crossing, or if it's a cyclist and a cyclist gets killed, or they won't be included in here.
Cyclists are vehicles, scooters.
For level crossing.
A train's not considered a vehicle.
But a
So if it's a
cyclist.
train, it'd be a
Yeah.
scooter rider, which we had at Lincoln Road. That's not captured in the crash analysis system. So we are going to follow that up with them. It's just the way they record things.
But that shouldn't be, because that's not your remit. You've got your 5 metres each side of that where that took place. That's Kiwi Rails.
So they do an investigation and the transport
It
access.
shouldn't be on your stats. You don't want to blemish because someone rode through a dinging red light on a Kiwi Rail crossing.
They're a shared space, I think, from a legal perspective.
Right, okay.
So,
But the data is consistent, so the
Yeah. factors
in the data are consistent for each year.
Data is also underreported, though, like Steve said, for even things on our own network. Because unless police attend and put a report in, so even serious crashes are sometimes not reported in there. So take it with a grain of salt.
So the reason I put that at the bottom is just, I think it's obviously every serious injury is a bad thing, but the trend is in the right direction, which is what we want. And that isn't true for NZ as a whole. So we as a city are doing something that the rest of the country isn't managing to follow. So I think that's a really positive story for us. Yeah, I was just checking it wasn't cars are getting better at braking automatically, but it doesn't seem to be. It seems to be that we're doing something. And then these are, this was approved as part of our transport strategy, about a year ago, was it? And so this is sort of the base of our next long-term plan that we're building. So our goals will change a bit, what we do will change a bit, but that's kind of what we're trying to head towards now. Well-managed transport assets, a more resilient transport network, safer transport network, more efficient transport network, genuine transport choices for everyone, and a vibrant, healthy and livable city. Rates cap means obviously we have to make hard choices, particularly when we're trying to hit that 60-40 minimum. So there's going to be quite a lot of difficult conversations coming up. And then from there, programmes, which I'm sorry I sent to you late, but hopefully they've been shared. But if they can go up, I'll stick those up, and then at that point we'll just take questions. And
David's.
Someone's hungry.
Go.
We can also get an Excel list of them as well. Michael can bring that out with chat to him today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to do that. So this is part of the problem of being the first is that you're a
Guinea pig.
guinea pig. But also, I mean, when I sent that through to you, we were still uploading the data into our RAM system. So it's very much hot off the press, this stuff.
Some questions we want to pick up. Under your slide where it talks about safety, do you also capture near misses? Is there any way to capture near misses, or is it just we need to do our part as a community board to explain to residents and whoever else is the relevant person to tell residents if you see a near miss to report it?
Absolutely.
So, because that's the biggest thing I think we get with traffic issues is so many people will then say, the amount of time I've nearly seen a school kid get hit, or the amount of time I've nearly seen, and nearly's isn't data. So where do they report? Where do we point residents
Yeah,
to?
if you send them in to us, we do have a potential projects database, which we're going to be doing a briefing to council on very soon. And that's going to explain how we prioritise and how we rank projects that come in. And in there is anything that anybody raises, whether it's a member of the public raises it, or even staff see an issue, or community board members and elected members raise, we'll put it in there and we'll try and rank it and prioritise when we should be doing something there.
And you want to do it through Hybris, either Hybris Ticket
Hybris.
or SnapSend Solve.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so report it to council through any of the channels.
Yeah.
And because we can, on Hybris, you can get a map of your ticket, where your tickets are,
Yeah.
and that can sometimes show a cluster of things that people have reported in that area.
Yeah,
And that might identify that there's an issue.
and it's not too strenuous for residents, like it's not like they have to show dash cam evidence or anything.
No, we just
It's just
Well,
details of what they've seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
It's not guaranteed it's gonna result in
Yeah,
anything, but
if
it
we
helps
had
build a
enough
picture. Yeah,
People
yeah.
in a particular area that would paint a picture.
yeah.
Cool. The last question I had is under your goals, if you go back to the slide that has the goals. It was like a graph of like maybe
The six
Yeah.
goals, yeah.
Under goal 2, you talked about resilient infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to know a bit more detail about like, what does it look like in practice? Because if you talk about resilient infrastructure that can like, address natural hazards for our ward, especially in the Fendalton area, we think about flooding. Or obviously like that has like roads, and really that comes down to other infrastructural arms of the council. So just, I'm curious, like what does that look like in practice? Like,
I think I'll give an example, not for this area, but just one that comes to my mind is on Banks Peninsula, so I apologise. The last big weather event, quite a few bridges were washed away. The question is, do you replace like for like? Because the potential for that bridge to be washed away again is quite high. In this situation, in without any pre-planning, you need to replace like for like access. You need to maintain access and get to residents can travel to and from their home. But what we really want to do is go back a step and think, is that bridge the right solution? Is there a better solution or better stand up to those weather events? And we're not necessarily going to go in and rip out good infrastructure. If another event happens and a bridge gets taken out, we're ready with a design to go that's going to be more resilient to begin with.
Okay.
That's just one example.
Yeah.
I think in more of this area is when we're looking at doing street renewals, we will need to be considering the layout of the road, the drainage, the water storage capacity, all those type of considerations. If we've already got an area where there is a high groundwater, are we building the road strong enough? As soon as we've got areas of high groundwater, normally you do get a more wavy road.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few areas of the city that are like that. So we will be factoring in those things to consider, is the water table going to rise? Are we building the road strong enough? So we don't have to come back and be visible in the future.
In terms of roads flooding, sorry, I'll add to that. That we do have some projects where we're looking at reducing the amount of flooding, but obviously there's only so far it can go before it hits the Three Waters network. And if there's no capacity in that, it doesn't matter how many sumps we put in, it's still going to sort of back up and flood. So there's quite a lot of work that we have to do between us to try and solve problems in.
And we do work together to try and solve them. Ultimately, we're giving them the water, and they've got the problem of how do they deal with it.
Mhm.
And there are various ways to retain water and then let it. So you almost need to you create storage underground for water to cater for those storm events, and then those storage systems allow the water to seep away at a measured rate, so it's not causing flooding downstream. And we are starting to look at more of those type of situations.
But some of the obvious one to do is deep dish, but people don't like deep dish for other reasons. So you end up with this sort of every time you just take out deep dish, you've effectively lost a whole load of holding capacity, which you then have to recreate underground at quite high cost.
Okay, cool, that's me, thank you.
Can we just come back to that, the slide where you talked about cycle safety?
Yeah.
So obviously there was some adult classes that we're doing at the moment. I've sort of done the numbers on it, and if we were looking at it's $25,000 was the original allocation. We've just put another 15,000 into it, and it talks about participants. So a participant can be the person who turns up to it, and you can turn up to 3 different classes. But you've only got like 350 odd that have turned up in the most recent event. But it's costing us a fortune. It's almost like the guys getting paid, you know, $400 a lesson. I think there was $360 odd a class for the number of classes he's doing. Is that sort of sound money? And then I Google who he is, and I see that on his website he's advertising that he's doing it. With no credit to the City Council for the funding that he's doing. I'm a bit confused by that.
So the original funding came out of NZTA's Cycle Safe, which is
All of it?
co-funded.
Sorry.
The original amount, the 25,000, was co-funded by NZTA, and not the last 15,000. I thought I had asked that same question as you around, and so that's where the participant versus is not an individual, because there's 3 levels.
Yes.
And I did have a figure for just give me a minute, I'll try and find it, because I wanted to know how much per session.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was as much as that, but I'll try and find it. So you've seen the email?
I saw the email that I got today. And look, and it's probably not right for just now. I mean, but it is something which I'm a bit curious that we're spending truckloads of money on teaching somebody how to ride a bike.
So longer term, and again through the level of service sessions that we're going to have with you all, we want to make sure that we've got a level of service and then a mandate to do what we're doing. We will be looking at these type of things moving forward.
I trust you, Steve.
And I think this one was particularly because it coincided with the fuel stuff, and there was quite a demand from workplaces to have that, because it's part of the journey planning that we do, is to recommend people ride bikes and
Any
things.
attempt that we'd say, oh look, it's $10 a person, and try and have some form of cost recovery on it, or is it just, hey, we provide it for free?
I think it's just
Because if it's
absolutely.
I mean, they've got a checkbook, they can pay for it.
Yeah, it's something to consider if we go forward with it. Yeah.
Aaron?
Yeah, so a couple of things, just one on the asphalt versus chip seal. Doesn't asphalt have a longer life?
It
So
does.
there's a bit of recovery longer term. I'm probably speaking for our entire board, but I might not be. That I don't think anyone that sits at this table is happy to switch out an asphalt street for a chip. So that's I think the mayor's pretty clear on that as well.
Very clear.
I've had some horrendous emails from people in the past that found out they were getting a chip sealed street in their really expensive subdivision they paid a fortune to live in, so the kids could roller skate on the road. So it's not a fair swap, and especially in areas where people are paying exorbitant rates. Like I know of at least one ratepayer in this area that pays over 50,000 a year in rates. I don't think they want a chip sealed street. Just to be
His road did get done twice though.
Oh, right. That's all. And then so that's one. So avoiding that is really important. On the near miss thing that Bridget brought up, love that concept. Did a quick Google. Note there's 2 councils in New Zealand do it, and Marlborough seem to do it the best. It's like a coloured map thing. how hard would it be for us to bring that in and trial it for a year, even going into the next financial year? I mean, I can move a late addition to the annual plan if I have to, but if it's right up on the front end of when you go into our website, that it becomes a thing and we just, is it quite simple?
I think there's been various iterations of trying to do it before, and there may have been previous apps. I think there are some challenges.
We should just copy and paste Marlborough's version and use that, because then as soon as you look at their heat map, there's 3 intersections in all of Blenheim that I'd be sending the team down to and go, look, there's just too many dots coming up on these. You've got to go have a look. And you guys would see it straight away. You go, oh, we're a bit bored this Monday. Let's go have a look at this.
We sort of do it, we sort of do that manually ourselves. The data would come in and then we would look for those collections of crashes. So that's something we can look at and come back with some advice on.
Yeah, the Marlborough one looks really good. And then the other one just is, there's quite a few informative slides here that even as an elected member, I'm not that aware of. And I think it needs just more communication with the public. We spend so much on roads and we get so much criticism about roads, how we sell that better, and even the use of video a bit more, like, and we should be using Chris Lynch more and doing, like, going up jet and explaining how a piece of road gets fixed up and done. Yeah, it's still going to get slammed with comments underneath because we're the council, but they'll at least see and know why and how it's done. And we should be picking off one a month, to be serious, and just to get the public on board with what our transport team does a lot more, because there's some great headline numbers there. And then your last one on the cycle safety, which I really cringed at, because I think cycling's fun and cool and using the word safety makes it sound dangerous. But when you said it was most people's first introduction to becoming drivers, my brain flipped on it and I'm like, yeah, right, you're coming up to an intersection, you're giving way to things like that. It is the start of driving. And if you sell it like that, you'll have parents lining up to make sure their kids go through it in the schools and even though it doesn't convert to more cyclists, it converts to better road users. And so, yeah, there's just a different way to sell that as well. But I had not thought of it like that or seen it presented like that, which makes a big, big difference. Yeah, so thank you.
Ian, Nicola, Sam, anything on your?
Just probably a follow-up on the cycle safety one. My daughter went through it at school about 2 weeks ago. Absolutely excellent. Really, really good. It's given her a huge amount of confidence. Perfect.
Helps with driving going forward. No, but you know what I mean.
It tells me how to drive. But
exactly, because they spot stuff.
I would far rather see that money that's set aside that David was talking about for adult biking, put into the schools program, and then getting corporate sponsors to do the adult training. I don't know if that's an option or not, but that's yeah.
Well, at the moment we are looking to build the LTP.
Yeah.
So the options are there, and it's up to us to give you good advice.
So
help you make decisions on those.
I'd fully support that. Why not create a trophy system where the council gives out, and the mayor will give it out once a year to a corporate that does the best job of it each year. So that look, and you guys will come back and go, hey, Fletcher's did this, or Schwarzkopf or Coke or whatever did this program and it had this benefit. They've now done this, and the trophy's given it, because competition creates, I think, drive stuff, and especially nowadays corporates like to be good at something.
So we have, so every February they have the Aotea Bike Challenge month, and that's people register their rides, and that's done across the corporate world as well, and workplaces. So that does set up quite a lot of competition just to get people riding. But
so do we have a Christchurch arm of that?
We do, yes.
Right. So who wins it?
I think we came.
We'll be pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, either second maybe. They have different groups of the sizes of the workplaces. Yeah, there's some big consultancies out there that.
What do you get if you win?
Trophy.
To say.
We
won. But I think there's something there. I think,
right.
No, but I generally feel like if Phil Major actually
gets out a trophy, like some
they would
ACOM or whatever come in and collect the trophy.
But do you have any of Sam?
Sam will come in with Downer to collect their trophy.
Karen?
I just wondered, for the cycle safe training, has there been a difference? And it's usually year 6, is it, that they do it? Have there been, I just noticed, I looked at a group the other day and there was some students that obviously were not very proficient on a bike. Is there two, you know, so.
Useless. Is that what
You,
they're
some,
looking
the good ones were obviously on the road, but what about ones that, how are we gonna get those ones that, you know, some migrants or that just, they are obviously running around in the car park or that they can't participate? I just wonder.
So,
if
yeah,
there's
so they do
the
have
numbers.
obviously there's health and safety around which ones can go on the road and of the children that can't, or if they don't have a bike, so they have spare
Yes,
bikes
do they
that they
both?
take.
Okay.
That I believe it, like a letter goes home with the children to say that, you know, they're not up to the standard because of their health and safety. So yeah, they are oversubscribed, so it's really hard to kind of capture those ones. But they do stuff on, because they all start off on court, so they are all judged. So sometimes if there's children that can't
Price before then they can go on.
yeah,
the road.
they will stay on the court and they'll do games with them and just build that confidence. So at least they have that. And I mean, you
Sometimes it's the only opportunity some kids have.
You're right.
Would you believe it in New Zealand? Who
Absolutely.
can't even ride a bike. So
I know so slightly out of the area when Christchurch assisted Waimāero, where I used to live, council, to run some at a rural school, and there was a child there with special needs whose father raved about the fact that his child was able to get on a bike even in the courtyard and ride, and the difference it made for his confidence. So there is, while it's about safety and road safety and that, there's a whole lot of other consequences that come from it.
Oh, it's actually quite special. I've been out to see them a few times, and you see kids, you know, they're encouraged to bring their own bikes. And obviously kids come from all walks of life, and some of them turn up and they're really proud of the bikes they've got. And seeing the staff work with them to actually make the bike safe
That's true.
to be used. And it's quite special the way they work with a lot of those kids.
Sam?
I don't know.
I've got a couple, so bear with me. First one is talk about the road renewal program, or it might have just been the general transport renewal program, like program around 96 million a year to maintain.
Yeah, that's across all assets, but yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So the net book value there was 2.6, or what do we got? 2.75, a
Yeah.
replacement cost 5.9. Is the replacement cost and is the net book value revalued? Because obviously if it was done 20 years ago at X price, is that at the same value as the replacement cost?
I think you need to have a finance ratio. I have no idea. They do it all in the background.
Yeah, because what yeah, so I'll add on. What I'd be keen to understand is if the replacement cost is 5.9, that's suggesting to me that it's the network is depreciating faster than we're replacing it, which means that we're not investing enough in the network to maintain it. So it would be good to see the year, like a historical view year on year of what that looks like, because then you can clearly see underinvestment versus neutral versus recovery, and from a total network perspective.
So we are looking to bring that type of information forward as part of the LTP process.
Yeah.
We want to be able to present multiple options in terms of stay stationary, invest less, and this is what it's going to look like, or invest more to try and get ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
And then allow yourselves to debate and make decisions on that information.
So if you had a line like that, which is showing you, I guess the year on year condition of the network from a dollar value perspective, and you had some kind of like benchmark, which is okay, this is at this line, this is what our network looks like in general from a condition perspective, and this is how the CCC network is benchmarked compared to Wellington, Auckland, Dunedin. That gives the community a really good understanding of, okay, actually we've underinvested for this long, but our network condition was X compared to Wellington, Auckland, who's Y. I think that is a really easy way to convey that information.
And I think that sort of feeds into your Councillor Q and your question around asphalt versus chip seal as well. And from that point of view, Jed and Jake will deliver what we're funded to deliver. And again, through the long-term plan process, if there's more money to do more asphalt, we'll deliver that. Or if we want to If we need to bring it back again and we'll do more chip seal, then we'll do more chip seal. So we can be flexible with that. We just need to be able to show and demonstrate the pros and cons of those different options to you when it comes to decision making.
Is there capacity within to do more?
Look, from the contractor viewpoint, they will always say there's capacity. We've trialled them this year and we absolutely smashed them at short notice and they all stepped up and they're all working through very extensive programs and they've got to ramp up and ramp down and they bring in kit, crew, materials and equipment from North Island and also from Australia. So they've ramped up over the last couple of years. And we think certainly based on the forecast and what we're looking at, we can sustain them over the next 1 to 3 years in terms of the program we've developed. The more that you invest in capital, the easier my operational investment becomes because I don't need to run around patching 9,000 potholes. We can actually put down some capital investment in the roading, and we are behind and we are playing catch up. But and we've done some work with recently, so it'd be good to be able to articulate that in a good way for both you and also residents to understand. There's a huge amount of money being put into the network. It's not always visible. And people often focus on the thing that's outside the front drive or the pothole or the curb that doesn't collect water, and without seeing what all the fundamental investment happens around them. But yeah, the contractors, look, they can step up, and there are also other tier 1 contractors and a lot of tier 2 contractors who'd be very grateful for the opportunity to come and work with council.
One more, maybe just on that, and then Sam, and then I've got a couple more after that. One thing I noted was when we're talking about the cost of chip seal versus asphalt, we talk about one being 4 times more expensive than another. To me, the framing might be more useful if it was the comparative, because obviously the life is different. So we just say it's 4 times more expensive. It's on at a net level, it's not necessarily 4. It might be 2.5 times or something for the same lifespan. It might be more useful for us to have that like as the anchor point.
Look, it's a good point you raised. There's no direct comparison. So you could put AC on a road and it lasts for 12 years. You could put chip on a road and it lasts 15. It depends a lot on volume. It depends a lot on the subgrade and the materials below the road as well. So if there's a direct correlation, it'd be really easy to make that assumption. In general, you're right though. AC is about 4 times the price for us to put down than chip. We would expect to see, I would suggest, in most circumstances, about 1.8 to 2 times the life if you put AC down versus chip seal. So a multiplier of 2 would be a probably more normalised number to assume.
Sorry, can I just add one?
Yeah, sure.
There's the NZTA recovery, which we haven't talked about here, but we get about a third of our revenue or money comes from NZTA overall, and we have to be able to prove that what we're doing is value for money. So if we just put down anything anywhere, we can start to lose some of that revenue that we get from NZTA. So we have to sort of work 2 masters, as it were.
You get a discount if you're using chip seal, and you can say this is the most value for money because it's like per dollar.
It's more the claiming side, so it's a fairly comprehensive and convoluted process that we've actually got a team that do this at the end of each financial year. And every investment we make on the roading surface and the network, if we go and claim funding from NZTA, that can be up to 51% in cases. And it's fine, we just have to explain why we've chosen that, why we've chosen the product, why we laid it in such a fashion, and then estimated life and depreciation rates accompanied. So that also drives some of the thinking behind what we put down on the road surface sometimes.
Sam, that reduced rates.
Yeah. So there'll probably be a couple of things we cover off from the LTP, which is cool. One of them, which I ask at every transport session, is what's the work we're doing to lift resident satisfaction? So if we think about the asphalt stuff and all of that, but actually like that, and you're probably going to get to it with the carriageways and that, we've had sessions here with the school principals and things like that. And what we've kind of said, and I think Tyler was keen and Jake has been keen as well, I know these guys are, was just, is there that list of really easy stuff that's annoying people that we can go, can we just get that done? So I know I sort of harp on about it, but in my mind, clearing some of that smaller stuff so that we can then focus on that bigger stuff, you guys for the LTP, would be really something we're keen to enable. So is there a way to do that, or what do you need from us to?
We've actually just completed quite an extensive survey on how many residents did it go to?
No, I mean about 5,000 people.
5,000 residents. and that's looking to extract all that type of information.
Okay. Yep.
It's not, and it's actually going to fall in line nicely with our LTP discussions as well. Because this survey, it's not, we've never done the survey before, but it's asking residents questions like, what's your biggest problem on the network? What's your biggest concern? And then asking them to rank these concerns. All the data isn't in yet. We only had a meeting about it this morning, giving us a sort of preliminary insight to the data. But some of the big things that are concerning residents are congestion and traffic management. So two really fun areas. And the traffic management is something we need to work on. That's an area we can make a big difference, I think, and congestion. Short term, I think some of Kathy's team do look at a lot of those quick wins. And when we come to present on safety, we have 2 minor safety budgets. We have minor safety interventions and then just minor safety. The minor safety interventions program is a lot more community based, less ranked based on risk, and more community based. So we do try and deliver lots of small projects through that. Unfortunately, it's a relatively small budget. So again, through LTP deliberations, we can give options around. You want us to do more of this quick win stuff, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, so what we're keen, and we might actually think about it in the run up to the annual plan, is how we enable you to do it ahead of the LTP. So in the next year, can we just, basically my kind of rule of thumb was get the list, go through the list. And I think, I can't remember the person's name that came from transport, but she talked about the rolling list of things.
Yes, that's
which is, if you're dealing with it, it's awesome. Is if we're getting it going, what's all the non-contentious stuff that requires minimal consultation and can just be done? And then come to us and say, we need $5 million for it. We will get you the money to get it done, because it's a reoccurring theme, and I kind of don't want to wait to the LTP for it.
No, definitely.
There's a lot of the easy stuff that you guys get through the office as well, that it would just be really good across the city, not just here, but across the city to
So I think
figure out. And then using the sort of, to your point, Jed, around the contractors, maybe we can go to someone and say, look, you've got some capacity, you'll figure out how to do it, but is there a way we can just enable someone to get on and do all that?
Oh, yeah, we've got panels. I mean, the procurement's not the difficult bit, I would say, for that.
So I really like
kind
that.
of work.
So I think it'd be worthwhile having a separate discussion on this and how we can give you the information you need to then direct us to do this type of work. And relatively soon.
Yeah, maybe me and Tyler will come and see you.
Tomorrow or something. If we get something set up, that'd be
Area engineers are probably quite useful. I mean, I don't want to commit your team, but probably the area engineers are quite a useful tool.
So we are having.
To be honest, all we need is probably 10 minutes with you guys and go, this is what we're thinking. Can we get something where, because we'll have a massive underspend from this year within the capital program. We've kind of largely locked the annual plan down, but if we need a couple of million and we think we can do it next year, that's kind of what, there was sort of broad consensus around the table to just get it done. So again, the non-controversial easy stuff that's not going to take 5, but the stuff that we can get signed off. So maybe we do that tomorrow. If you're around or something. And don't have to do anything before it. It's just generally a 10-minute chat. So
just catch you in one of the breaks. So.
That'd be awesome. Because that's something we've been needing, isn't it? So
question in and around maintenance. Given that we've got more speed bumps on the roads, is it high? Is it our cost to maintain the roads now higher because we have those?
It will have an impact on cost because there's another asset.
Unintended consequences, I guess.
One of the unintended consequences of, sorry, Jed, talking.
Oh, no, good mate. You got
on speed humps is and people have done a lot more work in this space, is making sure the road is actually strong enough to take them. What can happen is you put a speed bump on a road, and if the road isn't strong enough, you end up with the road failing either side, either before or after. And as vehicles are getting heavier and more electric buses, we even got a mandate from government to allow heavier vehicles potentially on the roads due to the fuel crisis issues as well, and all that sort of stuff can have a big impact.
Second one is, and I know I've spoken about it numerous times, in and around work gangs, having them do 2 shifts. So that if you talk about capacity, so having like one gang that starts sort of 6 a.m. in the morning, goes to 2, next one starts at 2, goes to 10, little to no impact on the residents, but the time frame is half and the cost is reduced. So it's a big one.
I mean, when we go out to tender, we as much as we can, we give them an open book. We say, hey, tell us how you want to
Yeah.
build it, and then we assess that.
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, other than some, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we ever really put things on that say you can't double shift. This is how they decide they want to manage their gangs, their people.
Do then to incentivise it, because
I mean, the incentive should be that the job takes longer and so all their overheads are covered, but often then there's other bits associated with that. I mean, they can have additional costs. We do get complaints from residents about working till 8 or 9 o'clock at night, because obviously people want to put kids to bed and so on. It's really trying to get the balance right in the right place. I mean, Harewood Road is a perfect example of where we've done something. I mean, that's quite extreme, but that was 24-hour working for a week. And there's yeah.
So that survey talked about that we've got just started getting data in for today. There were some very specific questions around, would you prefer the work to be high impact, shorter duration, or low impact, longer duration? And the initial results are showing it's almost 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's area and site specific.
Yeah.
That really helped them out.
everybody
I filled out that.
But you're right. I mean, places like Lincoln Road are a perfect example of where you'd hope
Or
they do
even
longer
your
shifts and
Harewood Road coming up soon, or your
Yeah.
Wairiki Road. So I think where Ringy with that bakery shop was there. I mean, that might have been another issue, but having a different gang in there, 2 gangs going even 6 days a week, it's just because the residents and the businesses, I mean, they suffer like.
yeah.
I think
And there's a lot
the
of-
keys for us to do the engagement with the community, and it's a timing thing, because if a contractor's won a tender, they will have in their mind how they plan to deliver the works. But again, different methods of procurement do allow for, like ECIs do allow for more conversations earlier, and the sooner we can get discussions going with the residents and the contractor to work out what's the best way forward.
Would we ever go out and say, give us a cost on the standard or a cost on this, and they've got to put 2 quotes forward? Would we ever do something like that?
We know, but they can put forward alternatives.
Yeah.
They can always put forward alternatives, but we.
Because it's our, we're the guy with the checkbook, and so I'm wanting us to say, you tell me how much it's going to cost to do double gangs, and then we figure out that it's actually cheaper.
I mean,
and less inconvenience for our
We
residents.
should find it. I mean, they should be putting forward the cheapest anyway if they want to win these jobs. So if they think it's cheaper, that's what they should be putting forward. I mean, I think if we went out like that, we'd probably find fewer people tender, because they've effectively got to do 2 tenders for 1.
Can we give more weighting to contractor that's willing to?
Most of our big jobs are done on what they call price quality method. So effectively they write a thing saying, this is how we're going to deliver the job. We say, yes, we like that. We give it a score, and that effectively turns into a dollar value that gets assessed alongside their tender. And so we do. I mean, if we think this is a better way of doing it, it'll get scored higher, and they'll get an advantage for having put forward something like that. Yeah.
Couple more from me, I guess a little bit more specific to some projects in our area, as opposed to feedback on the report. One was who is it we need to talk to? We talk about how a big part of Bishopdale Mall is road.
Yeah.
And I've had some conversations in the past with people about how that is one of the friction points around us as council doing anything with Bishopdale Mall's property to try and get some rejuvenation or something going on there. Is it you guys or another team we need to talk to about the reclassification?
That's underway as far as I understand.
Is that underway?
I know there's a paper booked in to come in, I think it's August, about the tree, because there's a big
About a tree, yep.
There's a tree to go.
Yeah.
issue with the tree and that having an impact on the development, and about the same time something should be coming to you about the road stopping as well.
Okay, no, that's good to know.
Another
It
tree.
is. I mean,
It's not that tree, that's.
Yeah, just the other tree that's in there.
if it's road, it's us. I mean, we have a property team that supports us through that, but the
Yeah,
road
these are those like
the
a
road stopping
rejuvenate-
element is led by our team.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, it is underway. Yeah.
Because the board had asked at one point, what's the options on selling it? So we just, like all options on the table, because at the moment it costs us money, makes us no
There's a
money.
huge car park out the back too.
Yeah, and there's like lots of spare there. So what would that look like if we sold the lot and in the way forward? because it might be the only way to create a rejuvenation of Bishopdale itself. More
So I haven't seen the draft report, but there is a report coming.
coming
That's good to
around.
know.
When it comes through the process, we'll
Sweet.
make sure that those points are.
So it might not happen, but at least we should
Yeah.
push it out.
I was gonna say, there's two more. One for me, I think Marianne, with you guys around the footpath around the back of the airport was in relatively poor condition, and I raised that we need to do some spraying, some cleanup there, but now it's being replaced, and I was just curious to know whether that was coincidental timing or whether they've done an assessment of that footpath out the back and gone, oh, let's just clean it up.
Take the win, Jason.
Yeah. I'll say that it was all me.
I don't know. I'm not aware of it, so it's not something that's
find out.
I mean, we've done a full survey of our entire footpath network reasonably recently, so
Okay.
it may well
might
just
have
be that-
coincided.
It might have been cut.
Fortuitous
Take the win.
Tell our residents anyway.
I'm a hero.
Might have fallen into that all the contractors have got so much work done that they wouldn't normally get done this time of year because of the stretch of good weather.
Stuff.
So they might have just added it on and gone, right, we've got spare, let's keep going, rolling it out. Maybe, I don't know.
Footpaths are quite good because you can do footpaths at different times of year when it's colder. So we often do the roads. I mean, I'm speaking for you. We often do the roads up till about April, and then when it starts to cool down, they'll hit the footpaths.
Why did Wickham Street turn into national last week? Wickham Street, down down in Bromley there.
I think, chatting to one of my contract managers today, industrial zone, lots of heavies, chip was starting to tear.
Oh, so that holds up better too.
So AC will hold up significantly better, as long as it's laid properly in the subgrade. And
Right, so everywhere that there's electric buses should be in future.
That's a weight issue, and with AC, you need to make sure that the AC's got no structure. At 55mm, it's soft. You can put 100mm there, it's called structural, but it's very expensive, super expensive, very fast, but very expensive. So generally most AC is about 55mm layer, which means you have to have a really good subgrade base and no water beneath it. Otherwise it starts to float and you start to get really bad roads. Chip's much better in that environment, but chip where you've got heavy vehicles, lots of turning intersections, starting, stopping.
Well, you just said we'll put it there for heavy vehicles, but buses are heavy vehicos, so.
So I'll give you an example in terms of the electric buses.
Those ones.
Yeah, so look, they'll destroy a normal bus stop. The amount of energy they transfer into the road as they start and they stop is huge. So we've remediated one at a rough cost of about $42,000. Huge amounts of concrete in the sub base. There's AC on top. We've done the works on one bus stop to trial it, and it works really well. And it's probably going to last for a long time.
We need to see numbers on that, because when you extrapolate that out over a network, you might say, okay, the buses are only going to be, the electrics are only on these routes, but we're not going to fix them all, because the cost just means the bus ticket goes from $11 subsidy to a $22 subsidy and so on, because that's not even in there, the road repair and the subsidy. It's just in the running of the bus. And then also we should be talking to Faberham and stuff about, well, how soon can we trial a hydrogen bus in Christchurch? Because that's the same weight as a diesel.
And would we ever do concrete as a pad?
Yes, we.
To asphalt?
Well, it's a good example. We talk about Northwood Boulevard.
Yeah.
And Northwood subdivision. They've got concrete paths everywhere. When I moved to Christchurch, I was renting there and loved the fact you could walk bare feet along footpaths. The challenge nowadays with one is the price to replace is a lot more than what we would spend on AC on footpaths particularly, but they also fail very badly, and council will know this because of trees and tree roots.
Just planted big trees next to them, popping now.
So it's a challenge for us to go in there and replace concrete. We generally grind down edges, or we'll bridge the tree root because of the tree policy. We can sometimes go in and nibble away some roots, but often it takes a lot to remove a tree, and to remove lots of trees just won't happen just now. So we look to do some AC work there as well. But look, concrete, if it's there and you put AC in, it's quite a contrasting surface. The AC is a lot more flexible. Allows a lot more tree roots movement.
David's meaning concrete pads for the bus stops.
Yeah, so we put a concrete pad under the bus stop, and then we shattered it, and then we put some grade and soil, and then we put
have straight.
Right.
So you're saying you did put a concrete one in and shattered it?
Yeah, we created stress lines in
It's
it.
not designed bus stops.
Yeah, we don't, yeah, we're not, please.
Save us millions, see.
I've got another actual project
I'm
question.
just gonna follow up on that one.
Carriageways.
What's that? I
Just
thought,
gonna follow up on this one. Do EKN contribute at all to the bus stops?
No.
Yeah.
So they're providing big, heavy buses that don't suit our network.
What I would clarify on that is, I think the initial electric buses they brought in were overweight and they're heavy.
Yeah.
But the more recent ones they've been purchasing are a lot lighter.
But the big overweight
There's
ones
still a few heavy ones on the
so they're
net.
still causing damage to effectively our infrastructure.
Yes.
Over time, that will reduce, and probably knows what will happen over
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I find that.
last one, although it's probably the best for last from me, Belfast Road. We've obviously spent a long time with the railway tracks getting Radcliffe Road.
Yeah.
On project plan and then working around Kiwi Rail. Belfast Road is another obviously incredibly busy road in that part of town and is the feeder for the motorway for essentially all of the growth in that area. And we put that on our board priorities list. And feedback we got back from the transport staff at the time was essentially a massive list of hoops, which will be very difficult and probably take a lot of time to jump through. And I'm quite keen for us to sit down and have a conversation, or for you guys to be able to provide some information for us. Okay, if you want to do a Belfast Road renewal and or like a shared path type of setup for the pedestrian and cyclists that are going up and down there, to the school from Spring Grove, and then just facilitating the significant traffic volumes going down there. What we need to do, like, what can we do as a community board, and then, you know, with council support to work out what it's got to cost, what needs to be done, and get it on the list, because I see that's something that potentially takes another 10 years for us to jump through the hoops when you've got level crossing.
So this might fit into sort of what you were saying before, Sam, which is the whole quick wins thing. There are bits there that we could probably put in not quite overnight, but relatively easily. And then there's other bits like the level crossing, which, I mean, if you put that on budget, we'd probably sit here in a decade's time still arguing with key rail over what goes in. And it's really trying to agree with you, what are the priorities? Because we can link different bits up of it relatively quickly, and then other bits are bigger projects that probably need to stand alone.
Once we got that, like with Radcliffe Road now being, you know, pretty much planned and a lot of that work being ready to go, you probably hear a lot less from Belfast residents in future if we can get Belfast Road on a list somewhere. Like, that will probably be a couple of the largest pain points for that general community from a transport perspective. There's a few niggly things around the condition of the surface and around the old Belfast area and around Factory Road and some of those areas, some of the road condition.
So on the road itself.
So we are on Main North Road. We will be looking to do some works there next year. Isn't that right, Jed?
Well, we've split Main North into 3 as part of revocated roads coming back from NZTA.
Yeah.
So we've completed the top section, and then the lower southern end, parts 2 and 3, they'll be starting in the next sealing season, which is roughly October.
Probably have a lot of the residents go, Main North Road isn't that bad, although we understand and they'll be like, what about
side streets?
Oh yeah, what about the little community streets in around there? You'll probably get a bit of feedback about that, because I think I think it's on a schedule, but it's quite far into the future. Those 2 transport things from a Belfast perspective, Belfast Road, and then that the residential area road conditions in and around Factory Road and they're close to the works. But if those things got magically done overnight, you probably wouldn't hear too much from our residents in that part of town. So just wanted to mention those.
Yeah, and just backing up with Justin saying, we get no complaints pretty much about Main North Road. Just a couple of crossing points where the kids up by the school. There's planned for that. So that's our complaint. And the bus lanes still being there when they're not needed anymore. That's another complaint, but the complaints are Belfast Road, Radcliffe Road, some of the back streets. So from everyone up there, that's what they want fixed. If we did anything to Main North Road, they'd probably come out with pitchforks going, why are you fixing this? It's in really good nick. To them, it's in really good.
To them, yeah, to them, yeah.
And that's where I think somebody mentioned it earlier. If we had more information and or videos or something online, better explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it, that might help.
Well, can Jason or I or both meet someone out at Belfast Road at some point? Just whenever you guys have got someone that can meet us out there,
Yeah,
have a look and
Yeah,
just do a talk and a chat.
Yeah.
Through would be good. We'll take that up. Would be awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, that was the last of them from me. Did anyone else have any kind of final local infrastructure questions or any kind of burning ones for the team there? No, sweet, you're free to go.
Thanks
I'm
very much.
not. I'm
Thank you
not.
for doing this.
Oh, then what else?
You got like another 6 slides.
Oh, is there more slides? Oh, I think we're done.
They were just the map.
Oh,
so-
that part. Okay, sweet.
It's fine. I mean,
Probably don't need to go.
it's good. They're all available. So if you've got questions on what they are, then feel free to fire them through and we'll answer them.
I was just going to say too, just for Belfast school staff meeting, the principal and a couple of the board, I think on site on Friday to look at, because they've got that issue with the crossing between campuses, yeah. So there's 3 or 4 staff going out to meet them.
This coming Friday. Oh, good. So if we can get an update after that, we'll flick it via Aidan,
Sure.
just to what the outcome was, would be really good. And outside Yoldhurst, has anything happened there?
Hopefully this weekend, although I don't know if the weather's gonna, it's been, yeah, just trying to get
So
it
we're
done.
close. Sweet.
The contractor's talking to the school, every time, yeah.
Gosh, wouldn't it be great to have those 2 sorted before our next principals meeting?
Oh, that just blown away.
Mm.
Well, in our ward. The others should have turned up to the meeting.
Right, was there any specifics you guys had you wanted to talk about these slides, or was it just if we had any questions?
Not particularly, just, yeah, it's just really for questions and information, so.
I think if you look on, the resurfacing for that Belfast area, you'll see, I think it's Factory Road. I think it's on there, and you'll see what else is.
Yeah, I see a couple of the,
We can certainly look at the other stuff.
yeah, that's the immediate section and around there anyway, that's those little,
Mine doesn't zoom in.
yeah, I'm offline with my Wi-Fi. But that's a good chunk of what the residents were talking about.
So you've got footpaths, resurfacing, which is just the top, just to be, so we're all really clear. And then rehabs, which is when we start to dig into the structure beneath the surface. So they're going to be much bigger piece of work, those rehabs. They're going to be the ones that take weeks and months, whereas the resurfacing can be done in, a few days
It
generally.
depends if there's some, we call them pre-seal repairs, so if the road's a bit bumpy, a few deviations, we'll come in first and we'll try and smooth that off first as best as we can before we put the top seal on, but yeah, generally that's days as opposed to weeks or months of capital work.
Jason. When does this information get, or for each of the different maps get presented, or has the public access to it?
The public will have access to it soon. It's not on the public website yet. So this is
It's relatively hot.
yeah, the reason it was late was because I was still waiting for.
What I'll say is it's tricky for us to know what needs to be done until we hear from residents upset that a street is getting something done and their street isn't. So what's the process for us to circle back with you if we wanted to make, if there was any wiggle room for certain changes, if we felt like one street was worthy more of the renovation than another street, for a better word? Is there any?
I mean, this is largely data driven program.
So it should match
Yeah.
what residents feel passionate about.
But it doesn't always.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
We survey all our roads
Yeah.
for a whole load of factors. And then that all goes into a big database, and then it spits out what our, or where our needs are, to try and get stuff fixed. So yeah, this is data driven, trying to spend the money where we need it most.
So it's not estimate driven, so.
Yeah, I see.
Data as in the state of the
Yeah.
road, yeah.
There's not much, the programs for the first year ahead is pretty set.
Yes, yeah.
But after that, if we've missed something or our data's not correct, we can certainly.
And we would just get in touch with you about who's the relevant, well, I guess we could talk to
Just through
staff.
Hybris, is it?
Yeah.
This is Hybris.
Yeah.
If it happens.
Yeah.
Cool.
And even if it comes through Hybris, we should be able to go back and say, look, it's, yes, we hear you, but it's not programmed for another 5 years, or maybe it's not programmed for even longer, but we'll be able to give reasoning why.
Yeah.
Ideally, if we have more information available online, we'll be able to point people to a web page and say, look, this is where it is. Go and have a look at our website and sort of explain to you why it's programmed the way it is.
Nice.
And that'll be something you could use then to point residents to.
Yeah, okay, great.
And Sam.
Oh, just one quick one, the Waimāero carriageway rehabilitations. 28, 29, we're doing down Avonhead Road. I think that'd be a great opportunity to tie in the traffic lights outside the school. So. There's my two piece.
I don't know about that project specifically, but we do try and tie in, we do a big coordination piece to try and.
That's one that you'll approach as possible.
Poor old Sharon's been desperately trying to get the three waters and the rehabs together, and that, I mean, there's an enormous amount of work that Sharon's poured into that, so.
The Avonhead School Gym is coming with a report and it is about FY 28 as well.
Cool.
Yeah, can't guarantee it's signals, but yeah.
Sam?
So this is good. I'm just looking at the blue, which I think is it's resurfacing.
Well, the blue's the year.
Sorry, the year.
That's this year coming, so it should be kicking off roughly October.
Yeah. So we and I don't know if you might have been there, Stephen, around the infrastructure strategy the other day. We talked about and don't take this the wrong way, it's not meant like this, but the data and then the common sense that sits with stuff. So when you see bits around the network where, like I'm just looking at one here, we go up Clyde Road, down Crake Road, there's a big gap, then we carry on and then there's another gap, and then we carry on, and then there's another gap. We've talked about going in once and then not going back, which is kind of what, so does this, is there an economy of scale of actually just doing the whole road?
So it's about that scale and that visibility. So on a micro level, we definitely do that.
Yep.
We have 3 potholes forming here, then a gap, and then another 3 over there.
Yep.
We'll do the whole section.
Yep.
But it does get to a point where, from a value for money point of view,
Yep.
it makes sense.
Oh, it does make sense.
Does it make
Yep.
sense? And in this case, this program has been developed with that sense check in mind.
Right. Okay.
And even though I say it's data driven, the data drives the first list.
Yeah.
And then it goes out and engineers go out and
And have a
visually
look
look at it
Yeah.
and assess it out on street to make sure that what the data says is correct and true.
Okay.
And that's where they look to, the next step post that is almost a scoping exercise, and that's where they might be, actually, we need to extend by another 3 or 4 meters, or
Yep.
this curve and channel is actually absolutely shot. We'd looked after if we replaced this surface and didn't fix this bit here as well. So it depends on the scale that you're looking at.
Yeah.
We do try and take into the fact those considerations.
Well, it's just like if you go, oh yeah, so and I'm only using an example, I'm sure it applies elsewhere, but the Craig, so if you took that road there, right? And you're cool, we're doing all that work because we've had all that, this one, well, we've done all that. Then we're doing a little bit of rehabilitation in a year or two, like it looks like we're doing it later.
We would definitely look to coordinate that. An example that we're doing earlier than that is Edgware Road.
Yep.
We've got a couple of spots of rehabs and we know there's some resurfacing, so we're trying to get a plan from here to here of
Yep.
what the next year or two looks like and how do we deliver it.
Because does it make sense, like just with that delivery of capital to kind of go, cool, Fulton Hogan, you're starting there, as long as we've got no 3 waters, you would actually just do the road and then we're not back in there for 15 years. That's kind of where we were sort of going at council the other day, was kind of, if we want the resident satisfaction as well, we actually just come and do the whole piece, provided we're not going back in there with 3 waters. And then you don't have to go back into the area again. So
yeah, we do that as much as we can, and yeah, what you're saying absolutely makes sense.
So like if you took that,
try and do that, there would be, without knowing that area specifically, there would be reasons for value for money reasons for not doing certain parts. And I think
weird,
Brand new patch of asphalt.
Yeah, recovery. We shouldn't be driven by NZTA recovery, but we shouldn't forget it either.
You've got the P&G on jobs.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally, yeah.
Like in my mind, and I know it's very simplistic and easy to say pointing at the whiteboard, but you've got a little gap there. Wouldn't we just do the whole thing so that it's a perfect bit of road that people are happy within the area, and then we know we don't have to deal with it, provided we're not going back in there for 3 waters again. It just
That gap might have already been done.
No, the flip side of that is though, at some point in the future, we're gonna come back and just do the wet gap.
The gap might have
It
been.
might be 4 years old, or it might
Yeah.
be 4 years behind, in some case you'd add it in.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
would definitely look at it.
yeah.
I think, yeah, again, it's something just worth discussing, and
Yeah.
I think we can go away and. I think what the concern you're raising is an absolutely valid concern.
Yeah.
None of us here pulled the guts of the programme together.
Yeah.
But we can definitely go. and
Like
get
that
some
would
more
be,
details.
if we could just use that as an example, because
Yeah.
I just know it's feed into what we're doing
Yeah.
with LTP at the moment,
Definitely.
so we keen to understand from, if you went from, just that patch, just see what it
Is
is.
that AC there?
Yeah. No, I don't think
Is that inside the motor?
But we'll come back with you.
Yeah,
With some advice.
there might be a perfectly
That
valid
little
reason
patch
where you
being
go.
left, I think's AC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry, the little patch that's there's AC.
Okay, cool.
You see, you wouldn't put chip on it.
We could.
I like Ben.
Okay, any final questions? No, great.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you, everyone, for coming in.
Sam, that bit of road must have been.
Oh,
done shops
we have
already,
a public,
but it's quite-
sorry, we've got a public excluded.
Corner was Glen Davy.
We got more.
Yeah,
One
Glen
more
Davy.
Section.
Waited just with Jacob.
Oh, cool. Seen that.